Hi, friends. How are you today? I am feeling great. Not sure I feel like I was totally rested this past week. I didn't do too many morning walks, did about two, or this is my third, but I did do a lot of evening 3 milers. And so I think that counts, especially considering the heat that we've been going through. And even now you can feel it's kind of soupy, like I could drink the air. So we're out nice and early, 7 a.m. We're going to get our 5 miles done, and then we will be off to enjoy the rest of Saturday. But I did want to take some time with you today to talk about a recent surgery that I've had. Yeah, I had a hip replacement surgery. Let me pause there for a second and let that sink in. You know, when I started to process the fact that I had to have surgery, I have got to be honest, I was taken over by huge amounts of shame. Yes, shame. Shame that this body that was given to me, that has carried me through so much, everything actually, one could argue, in my life, finally was saying, I'm not giving up on you, but I do need help. And I think my shame came from not recognizing what she needed in advance of her needing it, and doing what I needed to do to make sure that that was not my reality. And so the shame was overwhelming. Gotta be honest, it was more than the fear of the surgery. It was more than how much is it gonna cost. It was more than will I be able to continue running. It was just, how could you do this to your body? The body that you claim to be so in tune with, that you appreciate so much, that you didn't see this coming. You didn't put in place the mechanisms and the appropriate levels of training to make sure that she was whole. So yeah, that was a huge part of it. And I think to this day, I'm still trying to process that, to be honest. You know, when you look at how many years I have been active, physically active. Hope you enjoyed all of those. And those are just a few of the many races that I have done. I think I may have done close to 50 or 60 5Ks and 10Ks, 6 half marathons, maybe 5, plus all the training that leads up to it, and then 4 triathlons, the shorter triathlon versions. I think they call them classic. Anyway, I was never one to be in the gym, working the muscle groups, doing the physical therapy, doing the weight training. I am now, but leading up to all of this, I didn't do what deep down now I know I should have been doing. And that comes at a cost. Body doesn't rebound as easy as it did when you were younger. And so I didn't take those precautionary measures that I now see as being essential to ensure your body stays in optimal form. So there's that. So when I finally landed on, all right, I'm doing it, because it took me a while to get there, I was having conversations with as many people as I could, and everyone said it's the easiest surgery to recover from. It has the highest patient satisfaction rate, and in terms of recovery time, it was just like, it was this thing. I was like, how good can it be? It's major surgery. They're replacing your hip joint with a titanium rod and a ceramic ball and socket. For the most part, those are the materials. And I was like, how pleasant can it be? So I started to Google the number of surgeries that were done in the US, and apparently in 2024, maybe it was 2025, maybe it was last year, 650,000 hip replacements were done in the US alone. And in talking to the doctor, his overarching commentary was, Barbara, we've got a 97-98% success rate and satisfaction rate with this surgery. He's like, and that includes a lot of people who have a lot of issues. He's like, you're going to be on the other side of that 98%. So I wasn't really even, and I felt that, to be honest. I felt my body was in great shape. I took care of it. I eat well. So I wasn't really concerned about the recovery, as I said earlier. I wasn't even concerned about not being able to run anymore. And so I started to feel better about the whole process itself. Now that I'd made up my mind that I was going to do it, I was just like locked in, let's go. The shame was still there, so we're not going to get away from that so easily. And so, you know, there was a lot of thoughtfulness to go into what should I have done differently? What about the other hip? Because this is just the right side. And so we did a bunch of x-rays. The left hip is fine. It's got the right amount of space between the hip joint and the socket. And so, yeah, we went ahead and we got it done. So, how long leading up to this was this going on, is what you might ask. And I'm still trying to process when this thing all started. Gotta be honest, I don't know that I know. I think I have an idea. But then sometimes it masks itself where it feels better and you're like, okay, I can do physical therapy and push my way through to that, which I did do for about 4 months. I did get a steroid shot in my hip and helped for a little bit, but then it was just absolutely locked up at like 45, 50-degree angle where it should have been 110. So, quoting those hip rotation numbers, not exactly sure what they were. Suffice it to say, my right hip rotation was about 50% of what it should have been. That was glaringly obvious, and no amount of physical therapy was going to make it move. She was not budging an inch. And so I had to decide, is this a limitation that I want to really live with? I needed my both legs at 100%. And so, yeah, after 4 months of therapy, physical therapist looking at me and asking me, like, what exactly is the issue here? She goes, you're so athletic. You present as being so healthy. I cannot imagine you really want to live with this unnecessary limitation where there's a surgery that will definitely help you. So, I do not know when it started, but I do know issues started to crop up and then they would go away and then they'd come back and then they'd go away. My last race, 5K, was last year, August. And the hip was in kind of, I don't want to say full flare, but it was, the pain and the discomfort was more intense. But then it would go away, right? And so I did do a 5K and I bemoaned the fact that I did a 5K in, I want to say, 38 minutes. And bearing in mind my usual time is around 32, 34. So 38 to me was like, oh my God, that's terrible. And so, yeah, I was hoping and praying that it would work itself out, but it just was not. And it was my son who said to me, what are you doing? Why are you walking like that? Why are you limping? And I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. You know, we kind of act like everything's fine when it's not, especially to our kids. And so we went on for a little bit longer, and then the whole process started of the x-rays and that Anyway, so I had it in March, late March, and I've got to be honest, it was everything they said. I don't know that I'm abnormal, but I found the recovery to be just what everyone has said. And I'm a testament to this surgery. Not that I want to have another one, because I surely do not. But it's funny because I say when they wheeled me into the operating room, I was wide awake and I was, of course, on my back looking up at all of the equipment and all the people in the operating room. I'm thinking all of them were not working on me, but anyway, I don't know. And I just heard folks talking. I guess the surgeon gets to choose his music playlist, so that was on. And it was just hustle and bustle activity. And then, next thing I knew, because no one was talking to me, no one was paying me any mind, or at least so I thought. But the next thing I knew, I was in step down recovery. Twiddling my toes, because that was something I went into surgery saying, you have to do that coming out of surgery. And when I woke up, I just started spontaneously wriggling my toes, couldn't feel myself doing it. So literally it felt like it was a mental thing. My mind was saying, move toes. And so I looked over and I saw both feet waggling. I'm like, yes, they still work. My friends, yes, we are at the midway mark. So we're going to pause my hip replacement discussion and squat. Yay, we are done here. So let's head on back. We can talk about post-surgery recovery and what was that like and how I'm doing now. Let's go. All right, so where were we? Oh, that's right. I was wiggling my toes and super happy. Yeah, so then I did recovery. You got to get up within like an hour of fully waking up out of surgery. And then you got to walk up and down the hallway with this thing. And then once they're satisfied that you can walk with this thing, and you use the bathroom, number one, because you're not going to do number two for days, you can go home. And so you start to walk around the house with this thing. You just start to slowly do the heel toe walk. Super important for your gait. Heel toe. And I don't know that I even knew that before this surgery, but I do now. And so I'm super conscious of it. And then within a week, the nurse comes and takes off I think they call it an aqua bandage. So that looks like this. And they replace that with steri strips, which looks like this. And then they take the steri strips off, and then it looks like this. Immediately after surgery, your kneecap is likely going to look like this. Don't be alarmed, they say. Easier said than done. It does eventually go down. They give you this ice pack contraption, which looks like this. Found it to be a bit cumbersome, but I guess if you're walking around and you feel like you need ice on your hip, it's good. It's got Velcro straps on it. I found that it was just easier for me to put the ice packs on my hip when I was lying down, and it did the trick. So I stopped using that thing within maybe the first day and a half. It just was uncomfortable, and the ice packs lying down did the trick for me. So listen to your therapist, do the exercises, do them as consistently and as accurately as possible. It will make a huge difference in your overall recovery. Seriously, sometimes it might be a little painful. I had to take a Tylenol when they really started to kick in and up the repetitions for physical therapy, because it did create a little bit of, ooh, that sun, of pain. But overall, do the physical therapy. Wonders in terms of regaining your full mobility and range of motion. Taking a detour today because it's such a beautiful morning, and why not? So, truth be told, the PT only lasts for about 3 weeks and then you're on your own. So you do have to be consistent and you do have to care. I gotta be honest, the post-recovery pain, I forgot to talk about this. I was not in a terrible amount of pain. I took my pain meds for maybe 2 days and then it felt like I was good. And so, hey, if you're in pain, take the medicine. I just felt like I could heal, and I didn't have the discomfort and the pain that I thought I was going to have. So I just went with it. I went with my body, what she was telling me she needed. Ah, look, I found a hill. You know we gotta go up the hill. All right, let's go. Ooh. Tighten those glutes. Tighten those glutes. Hills are our friends. You know what? We came up it. Let's go down. Works totally different muscles. And so, yeah. So, net, overall, how was my experience? And I would say better than expected. I feel as though both hips are equal. For the longest, my left hip obviously was overcompensating for my right hip. So even though my left hip, thank God, is great, after surgery, I was having spasms because I had to recalibrate the muscles on that side to let them know they were no longer in charge. They no longer had to overcompensate to help out the other side. And so there was a little adjustment there where I had to go through a little bit of discomfort, but it was to recalibrate that side. Now when I walk, it literally is like my hip joints glide. I feel zero discomfort. I'm still continuing with my physical therapy because I still work on my range of motion moves. I still just make sure that I'm aware, keenly aware now, if anything feels off. And I'm just so appreciative to my beautiful body. It's the only one that I have, and I'm still processing the shame because I do realize that I likely could have done better, but it is what it is. And I know some people hate the saying, everything happens for a reason. But I do believe in my case, this might have been a blessing because I now have learned the value of weightlifting and mobility and strength training, and I incorporate that into my day to day. I really do. And honestly, I can see and feel the difference in my body since I started to do weightlifting consistently. I can feel it. I can feel my upper body, especially, is stronger. My lower body is getting more toned. And I think she's happy. So, net net, I'm on the mend. I'm doing much better mentally and physically and emotionally. And I'm just super appreciative for everyone who is involved in my care. And so, as we move on to newer things, I know that I know what I need to do. And so I've made a commitment to myself and to her, my hip. I think I should name her um, about what we need to do to maintain strength and optimal health going forward. And so that's my commitment to myself and to her that I will do that. So we are at around 4 miles. We're going to walk a little bit more and then we'll likely call it a day. So I'll show you some views of where we're at. It's a beautiful park. And then we'll be off to enjoy the rest of our Saturday. But I hope this is a little bit helpful to anyone who is considering hip replacement or who knows someone who is in the midst of evaluating it. Hopefully you found some value in my story. Again, this is my story. I'm not an expert. I'm just giving it to you from my perspective and my experience. And my experience was good. So that doesn't mean that I want to have another one. So we're going to work on making sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it could have gone a lot worse. And just looking back now on how long I was suffering, I don't know. I don't know why I did that. But you know what? They say when the student is ready, the teacher appeared. Just out and about, I would talk to people or I would overhear conversations about folks having hip replacement. And I'm like, oh my God, obviously the student is ready. The teachers are appearing. And so I resisted it for the longest. My PT on the first session even noted in my chart, the first thing patient said was that she does not want to have surgery. So I know that I was anti-surgery. I know that I didn't want that. But then slowly it grew on me, the need to just get back to my 100% life. I needed both legs, full throttle, full capacity. And so slowly but surely, I made a decision. And once I made that decision, I was locked in. So yeah, hopefully this helps you. And listen, Google, talk to people. You'll get a bunch of different perspectives. At the end of the day, it's your decision, and you have to decide how much pain you're in and how much pain you're willing to tolerate before you make that decision. And hopefully, it's not even an option for you. But if it is, or hopefully, it's not even a problem for you, but if it is, there are options. You don't have to suffer. Anyway, I'm not pushing hip replacement. I just wanted to give you my take on it, especially as it comes to the shame that I held on to. That I don't know that I needed to, but who's to tell how and why people feel shame? I know why I felt shame. And so I'm still processing that, but I'm thankful that I'm able to do that. And I want to share that with you. So let's continue to walk, but I will likely just leave you here and just show you some of the beautiful sights and sounds of the park. Have a phenomenal Saturday, and I'll see you on the next walk. Bye.